I would give it, out of 5 bags, we're doing the 5 bag,
No,
right?
we're sticking with 5 Steven Seagals.
Okay. 5 Steven Seagals.
5 being
the
worst amount of Steven Seagals, because there's more.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
That's why I reacted the way I did.
Okay. Then. Okay. To get to. Okay. How many Steven Seagals would you give it if you had to give it a Steven Seagal, since she's made me sit here and
so
look like a weirdo on camera trying to figure out the Steven Seagal math chart? Why can't we make these reviews so simple?
Welcome back, terrestrials, to the Quarantine Movie Reviews. We got Scary Jerry here again, and in today's episode, we're going to be doing Hell Ride from 2008. So, this movie is labeled as a spaghetti western. It stars Larry Bishop as Pistolero, Michael Madsen as the Gent, Eric Balfour as Comanche / Bix. We've got Vinnie Jones as Billy Wings, Dennis Hopper as Eddie Zero, David Carradine as Deuce, and Julia Jones as Cherokee Kism, and Lenore Valera as Nada. Jerry, do you love this movie, or do you love this movie?
Yeah, it's definitely a great movie. This movie there's passion in the direction, definitely. It's a great biker movie. It's a great Western too. I think if you had to juggle between, is it a biker movie, is it a Western, I would say it's more of a Western with bikes in them instead of horses.
Yes.
This movie takes place before the Sons of Anarchy craze. Mm-hmm. I think Sons of Anarchy owes this movie a lot. The same themes, where there are two rival gangs, the Victors and the 666ers, mm-hmm. Are going up against each other the whole time. So, yeah. But yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, so the story basically is there's these two rival gangs. David Carradine's character Deuce is the leader of one, and Eddie Zero is the leader of another. These two gangs both see essentially the same prostitute, and she gives information back and forth between the gangs. None of the gangs know this at the time, but under Eddie Zero and the Victors, there's a character named Pistolero. He falls madly in love with her, and she ends up dying. Deuce kills her, and the story basically from there is him trying to find Cherokee Kism's son and get revenge. And a bloody battle ensues, and it's just twists and turns the entire time. And it's just a thrill ride or a hell ride. See what I did there? From beginning to end.
I actually felt that one.
And I love movies like this, where there's aspects of the plot that you don't get until you're supposed to. Yeah, so I love the movie. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
The music was awesome. They played a lot of old classic music.
Yeah.
And it just set the tone really well. It set the scenes very well. So, yeah, I've got no complaints. I love this movie.
Yeah, definitely. I think the characters, the actors they got to play the characters were definitely top notch. Mm-hmm. Dennis Hopper is great in this movie.
Sure thing, man. Come on, no problema.
It was one of his last, but he still he, you know, hits a bullseye. David Carradine. I'm really showing my true colors. What was his name?
Kung Fu Master?
Yes. Yeah. I think that's also one of his last movies, but he plays a decent character named Deuce. I would never want to be called Deuce in a gang of anything.
Yeah, I would never want to be called Deuce either.
Yeah.
It's typically only shit.
Yeah.
But to reframe what Jerry said, he plays a decent character. He has a decent role in this movie. His character is not decent. His character is a horrible person. He lit a prostitute on fire after slitting her throat. So
I wasn't saying I wasn't saying that his actions were decent. I was saying that the portrayal of his character. I mean, he's only on screen for, I think, like, what would you say, 15 minutes out of the film?
Yeah, at best 15 minutes.
I think he was the idea of, we have this role, who can we get?
Mm-hmm.
And then this comes to our next topic. This is a Quentin Tarantino produced film, but he had nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah.
I looked up and down, and I could not find where, other than Quentin Tarantino's name being put on it. And I think that's where David's part came from. I think because Quentin's name was put on it and stuff, he was accepted that part. There could have been tons of people where they were like, who are we going to get to play the Deuce?
Mm-hmm.
We meet the Deuce face to face, close to the end, I would say.
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
it's about the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie.
I mean, his character is like the mysterious, the Deuce, you know. And yeah, it is funny to hear everybody talk about, you know, when are we going to see this Deuce, you know. But I think the true villain is his name's Billy Wings.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Billy Wings' character. Yeah. For some reason I was calling him Billy Wayne. I guess the character actor is English.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes in and out of different accents, and it's his really thick accent. And when he says his name a couple times, it's just like, all right, I'm just calling him Billy Wayne from now on. But he is a despicable villain, where you really just like, you can't wait for his downfall.
Mm-hmm.
But our three main characters, Pistolero, the Gent, and Comanche, you see their control of the victors.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what the bulk of the movie has to do with. You have to deal with Pistolero trying to come to terms with his gang not being trusted at some points.
Yeah.
You have the Gent just being awesome.
Sorry, my finger got stuck.
He really is a great
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
And Michael does play him really good. He plays him just like Michael. Like they could have called his name is, you know, the Gent, but I think it was just like Michael just showed up on set that day. It was like, I'm just gonna play myself, you know. Just like, or he just accidentally just kept on riding around on his motorcycle and just showing up to set and stuff. Just like, well, I guess we just put him in the film. But yeah, in the long run, I don't know. I was trailing off there and stuff.
Okay, so on top of the initial underlying storyline that you kind of get hints at, and they kind of tease you with Pistolero looking for Cherokee Kism's son because she asked him to keep a treasure for him, which you never see in the movie. You don't know what it means. You don't know what's in this box that they find. But with that being said, there's a bigger storyline or a more pronounced storyline of the victors versus the 666ers. They're taking over territories. They're battling it out when they see each other in the streets. It's just it's a dual storyline video, and you really just start pulling for the victors because they've got a bunch of snakes in the grass that are going to go to the 666ers, and you immediately hate Billy Wings of the 666ers. He is a despicable human being. He is horrible. He fits that lifestyle that they are portraying. Not saying all bikers are like that, but he fits that lifestyle that they're portraying very well. They did a good job casting him as the guy you hate. But one thing I wanted to touch on is that David Carradine as Deuce. The more I'm sitting here thinking about it, the more I don't know how I feel about him being Deuce. David Carradine does not present himself as a motorcycle rider. He doesn't present himself as somebody who gets down and dirty like the rest of these bikers do, with like murdering and everything. The character just doesn't, the actor doesn't fit the character very well. We all know that David Carradine could do great dramatic things, and I think that that's what gave him the role ultimately.
Yeah.
Because when you do see him, he's in a vulnerable position, but he doesn't show vulnerability, and he continues to talk shit and double talk, and it's a very dramatic scene. It's a very serious scene. So I think that is probably why they ultimately chose him. Just in my opinion, though.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier, and the two characters of Billy Wings and Deuce. I almost wish they would have just combined those two characters.
Yeah.
And made one central villain.
Yeah.
Instead of this idea of we have Deuce and we have Billy Wings. Billy Wings is the enforcer, whereas Deuce seems more of the money of the gang.
Yeah.
Whereas if they would have just taken those two and made a character that has the suaveness, the aristocrat feel that Deuce had, but yet the viciousness of the Billy Wings character, I think you would have, your attention would have been focused to one point. I mean, like we said, the movie has a lot of bullet points where it's like the victors may be against the Prez Pistolero. Billy Wings is back in town. The 666ers. All of these like ideas, and we have Deuce somewhere in a hotel. You know, there were all of these points to get to, instead of just like the one plot of, you know, we got to take the ring to Mordor, where it's all of this. I mean, it doesn't take away from the enjoyment of the movie. It just feels kind of like, what are we doing here, guys? What's going on? You know.
See, I have to disagree. I think that those characters couldn't be the same person, because if you remember in the scene where Pistolero and Comanche have Deuce, he talks about he left the gang and he's been traveling the world setting up an empire to fund his gang. So he's not really a part of the gang anymore. So you would need somebody, his second in command, his right hand guy, out there in the streets doing the dirt while he is setting up a front for this. So I think that those two characters had to be separated. I don't think that it would have worked well, and the allure of, or the mystique I don't know if that's the right word, but the mysteriousness of Deuce throughout the whole entire movie kind of makes you wonder, like, why is Billy Wings running this organization, running around doing all the killing, while there's this other person that is not named?
No.
You at least see Eddie Zero, even though you don't know Eddie Zero is Eddie Zero till later in the movie. Well, I mean, if you watch these kinds of movies, you can figure it out pretty quickly. But you don't know. You see him, though.
Mm-hmm.
He's at least out running around doing things. Deuce is off doing something like setting up an empire. So Billy Wings is the commander of the actual gang itself at the moment.
Yeah.
While he's just funding it. So, I don't know. I think that those two characters were a necessity. I mean, you already hate Deuce because you see that Deuce does the killing of Cherokee Kism in the beginning of the movie, but then you realize Billy Wings was there too.
Yeah.
Later in the movie. So, there's a lot of spoilers if you haven't seen this movie. I guess I'm just spoiling.
It's been out since 2008.
Yeah, that's your fault. So
I definitely I'll agree with that. Yeah, definitely. Where you do need those two characters. I think what it really suffers from is this needs more movies.
Yeah.
Where it should have been Hell Ride and we learned our characters, because when you're dealing with a gang with a lot of characters, you need time to build up on those characters.
yeah.
And when you're dealing with two villains, I mean, you know, when you're dealing with two villains, you need time to understand their points.
Yeah.
Whereas the Deuce would have been like the Pablo Escobar of his group. You know, Billy Wings would have been just, like you said, a regular enforcer, you know. So I do see that, where you do need those two, you know. Darth Vader needs the Emperor, because at the end of Jedi, we need, you know, somebody to be the bad guy, you know. So I'll take that one. So
Just slide in a Star Wars reference there.
a good Star Wars.
Yeah,
too.
it's true. I don't know Star Wars all that well. I mean, I've seen them. Well, I've seen the original 3. But I always thought that the Emperor needed Darth Vader, not the other way around.
No. The Emperor made Darth Vader and stuff. So you need to see the other ones. we're not getting into it. We're talking about Billy Wings and the Deuce. Billy Wings dropping deuces.
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. Here's the biggest spoiler of the movie. Did you catch at the end where Pistolero's sitting next to Comanche on their bikes and he goes, Sonny Kism, I think I'll just call you Son.
Yeah.
He's the dad!
Yeah, it was like when he moved Comanche to number 2. I kind of got that vibe that, you know, the Cherokee Kism character, she was doing more than just running. I guess it was drugs. I mean, 76, so.
Yeah, I think she was just like,
you know.
they dumped drugs and fucked her.
Yeah, but I think in this type of movie, they didn't want to, like, you know, just come out and say it. So they were just like, there's a lockbox and stuff. But, you know, like I was saying, the character of, you know, you see flashbacks and things of that nature, and you kind of get the point. And he also says that he met her in, you know, 1969 and stuff. It's just like, Lord, how old are these people?
Yeah, because, I mean, it was 2000. Well, I mean, I don't know what
2008.
year. The movie came out in 2008. So, yeah, I don't know what year, but.
No. Yeah, what they're trying to portray. But, anyway, the idea is like, you know, when you get halfway through a movie and you're like, I bet that's his kid. And then at the end, they were like, I'm going to make a M. Night Shyamalan twist. And then you're like, see, told you.
I never noticed it before. I never paid any attention. Because, all right, so the Comanche character comes in as Biggs. They give him the name Comanche. And then like in the last 5 minutes of the movie, you realize his name is Sonny Kism.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Oh, I think I'll just call you Son. We've wasted enough time."
Just extra
And then-
dialogue.
and then
we got to run it out. And
They
stuff.
drive off in two different directions.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was that your only gripe with the movie?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to really. The deuce scene. The one thing that gets me is that a lot of the scene is just a wide angle. I mean, a close up of his face. But they're in a room. They're in like a solitary room, so it's not like you're gonna get very dramatic angles at
Right.
that. So, yeah, there's not much. If anything, is that this came out during the time of the Grindhouse phenomenon, where
The research.
Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, they were making their Grindhouse style movies, and then I think this one came in, flew underneath the radar.
Yeah.
Some people got it.
It definitely has that feel.
Yeah,
Definitely.
where they were trying to get old Hollywood feel.
Jerry just almost died a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where that came from. But, yeah, I mean, I'll recommend it. I would give it, out of 5 bags, we're doing the 5 bag,
No,
right?
we're sticking with 5 Steven Seagals.
Okay, 5 Steven Seagals.
5 being
the
the
worst.
worst amount of Steven Seagals because there's more.
Yeah. I would go, like a 3.5, maybe? 3.5.
many Steven Seagals?
No, well, I mean, it's in the middle. You can't get lower than 3.5. I mean, like,
God damn.
yeah, it's not, yeah. Oh, okay. Like, 3 and a, it is so much harder to do a negative when it's at the high end, I noticed. I'm like, okay, if it was at the low end and 1 was bad and I gave it 3.5, so what would be the opposite of that?
Well, if you give it 3.5, then that means you're talking. Well, if you give it 3.5, then that means you're talking. It's just on the other side of being shitty. Talking. It's just on the other side of being shitty. Like you're giving it. Like 3 would be like run of the mill, average ass movie, and you're giving it 3.5. So you're saying it's not quite even average. It's not quite even decent.
Okay, so yeah,
That's why I reacted the way I did.
Okay, then, to get to, I want to go to the middle, but I don't want to get all the way there. Like, I want to give up halfway to the middle. So that would be 2.5.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Why can't we make these reviews so simple?
We will rework the entire ratings.
Oh my god, yeah, it's, I miss, like what was
Alright,
it?
5 bags of popcorn, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. How many bags of popcorn do you give it?
5 being the worst?
5 being the best.
Oh, 5 being the
1
best.
being the
That's
worst.
a
Like
3.5.
a normal. Okay.
3.5 bags.
All right,
I mean,
cool.
it's there. It's in the middle, but it's a little over the middle. It's not that much over the middle. To the point where, it would be to the 4. It would be, it's a buy the movie and rent it,
All right. I give this movie 4 bags of popcorn. I just really like it. It's not quite nostalgic for me, but it does remind me of good time. And again, I think this is one of those movies that Jerry put on for us when we were having our movie nights. So, all around, I thought the movie was pretty good. The writing did lack a little bit, but all in all, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
So definitely go check it out. Go watch it. Yeah, I gotta say that I'd rather watch that than any episode of Sons of Anarchy.
Okay, I haven't seen some. I don't know.
Me either.
I know of
That's
it.
how I know.
I know, like, How many Steven Seagals would you give it if you had to give it a Steven Seagal, since she's made me sit here and
Well, okay, so
look
we're
like
going-
a weirdo on camera trying to figure out the Steven Seagal math chart?
We should get little like lollipops and put Steven Seagal faces on it and just hold them up. Like, I give it this many.
Yeah, I swear.
I give it 2.5 Steven Seagals because I think it's right on the other side of being mediocre in the middle. So
Okay.
2.5.
So much
Steven
easier.
Seagals.
Okay, I'm the one that had to make it complicated, I guess.
All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you, Scary Jerry.
Yes, sir.
And we'll catch you next time. Take it easy, guys.
Why